What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Business Breakthrough. In today's Business Breakthrough, I sit down with Tanner Tenorio, round three. Awesome guy, helping him understand to get started now. The guy's preparing for success, okay? And sometimes we have to do things that don't make sense. Why would you set up a payroll company if you don't have employees? Why would you set up an accountant if you really aren't generating that much money? Well, my principle is this: it's better to do it when you're not needing it than when you need it. Because at that point in time, the stress and the frustrations of everything we have as business owners impedes our ability to make sound decisions, to go through the motions that we need to go through to set up the foundation the right way. So, this was a great conversation with Tanner. I think he's ready to finally launch this thing, getting his licensing situated, doing everything the right way. He's got an all-star employee working with him. Man, I love it. So, round three with Tanner starts right now. The big question you need to ask yourself every day is, do I own a job or do I own a business? And unfortunately, the majority of contractors out there own a job. That's right, they're a slave to their own business. But the other side of the fence is so much greener, it's so much better, and that's when you're finally fully in control of your destiny, your freedom, your time. And that's what Contractor Secrets is about. It's about taking back our time, building a business with systems, standards, values, procedures, putting yourself in the driver's seat. And that's what it's about. So I'm excited. I'm happy to have you here. Let's dive into the Contractor Secrets podcast. All right, what's going on, everyone? I'm here with Tanner Tenorio, round three. This is the third time we've done this?
Yeah, I think third time.
Oh, this is the third go round. Quick background. Started off, met you on Reddit. You were at that time you were working as a police officer. You've transitioned, thinking that you were going to do concrete coatings. I think the last time we spoke, you were thinking about maybe doing something different, a little more easier. I don't remember. Did we stick with concrete coatings?
So I'll get into that. Everything that happened with the business, kind of was tough to maintain.
Okay, so tell me the story. What happened?
So basically I tried to advertise. Sorry, my mic's a little messed up.
No, sounds good to me.
All right. So basically the concrete business was hard to advertise.
Okay.
Basically it was hard to get leads, and
it's a vanity item. It's
right.
one of those
Yeah.
things that you gotta, first of all, people gotta know that they can do it, what it is, and then they gotta assign a budget to it.
Right.
And it's really hard to get people to pay for something that they don't need.
Right.
So that stacks the deck against you. I'm sure that's what you ran into.
Yeah. So it was like I said, it was a difficult sale. So I'm thinking about transitioning basically back to just doing interior and exterior painting. Because like you said, it's more of a need than a want. And most people I've seen kind of use their garages as like storage units. So I think not a lot of people appreciate the epoxy coating. I'm glad for the people that I did do it for. But it just, like I said, I think it was too expensive, too much of a vanity item, and kind of a difficult sale. So
good learning experience, right?
Yeah, definitely. I learned, definitely like basically how to start a business and getting that off the ground. Basically doing like a business account with checking and everything like that. Getting business accounts with Sherwin-Williams and different places. It definitely, like I said, it was a good learning experience, and I think it was a good base, but I think it's time to kind of take the business in a different direction and do more residential type coatings.
So are you doing this full time now?
No. So currently I work full time, but it's Monday through Thursday. So
Okay.
I want to start off doing like Fridays and the weekends. And then of course, once I get busier, transitioning to that. I'm also in the process because I moved to a different county. This county does require you to have a painting contractor's license. So I'm in the process of transferring from where I moved to back to down here now.
Okay.
So
do you have anyone working with you, or are you solo at the moment?
I do have a friend that's basically helps me out with painting jobs. He's the one that also helped me out with doing the epoxy coatings.
Got it. So he's kind of still working alongside you?
Yes. Yep.
Cool. So when you look at like what you want to accomplish, what are like some roadblocks that you're seeing in terms of like, maybe I need a little more refinement in this area. How do I do this area? What are those things for you?
Basically, I wanted some advice on, because I'm kind of starting from the ground up, um, and doing these residential interior and exterior painting.
Okay.
So I wanted advice on kind of how to either start off with employees or hiring out subcontractors. I know, like I said, I'm going to do it on the side for now, but I
Well, you
eventually,
don't need to do it on the side, right? Like you don't make the assumption that you can't have work being produced
right,
outside of your capabilities physically. I mean, if you trust somebody, like you said, I mean, this guy's been working with you since the last time we did the breakthrough, seems like a good person.
yeah,
He could be working Monday through Thursday during the normal business hours. Because let me be very clear with you. You come to my house and tell me the only time you can work is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I'm going to go with the guy that can work during the weekday.
right,
You
okay,
know, I
yeah,
mean, especially for a working class family. I mean, they want those weekends to themselves.
yeah. Well, the other benefit I have is I moved a lot closer to my job. So after work and things like that, I can go by the job sites and check on everything and make sure they're running smoothly.
Right.
So there is that benefit from the move that I had.
So when it comes down to this, it's like, you've seen how it works, right? You've seen how the estimate process works in any
Yep.
capacity. You did it with concrete coatings. You see how that works. You've seen how acquisition of an interested customer works. You've seen how it didn't work. You've seen how hard it was to get people who wanted that niche service. Not saying that people don't want it, but you better be a big player for them to know. You better be going to local trade shows. You better be
Right.
showcasing what that floor looks like, having them feel samples of it. You really got to work it with that niche. Okay. And typically whenever I sold epoxy, it was an add-on to the painting that I did. So it very rarely was it just me going and doing an epoxy job. It was like, hey, we're painting your whole house. Would you like a quote for an epoxy floor in your garage? So then I just stopped doing that because it wasn't smart. So
Right.
when I say all this, like you learn that system, right? So for me, it's like you're way beyond the point of you were the first time we spoke, way
Yep.
beyond. You know that the system works. Now it's just about you creating a system of marketing and creating a system of hiring. And let's start with the marketing side. The marketing side is you've pretty much affirmed to yourself that you're doing interior and exterior painting.
Yep.
What state are you in?
Florida.
Oh, you're in Florida. Okay.
Right.
So you can
Yeah.
paint year round.
Yes.
Okay. So that's great. Now, if I asked you to find work right now, how would you do it?
Um, I remember last time you told me about Home Advisor and Angie's List.
Okay.
So I did get some leads from there for the
Okay.
epoxy flooring. So I think I
Okay.
would go back to that
Okay.
to try to source my leads.
Yeah.
Um,
And what's a budget that you're thinking? Like, if I said, okay, give me this amount of money, what's that number that you have in mind for a month's time of generating business?
I think starting out, um, I mean, honestly, I'm kind of starting small, so I was thinking around maybe $500 or $600
Fair, fair.
for
I
marketing.
would, I want you to understand this really well because again, you're transitioning from employee your whole life to or working life to
Yeah.
business owner. Money has to be used as a tool rather than the end of our labor, right? As what you're doing Monday through Thursday, what you're making is a result of your labor. You keep that, you can't put it back into that to get more of it. As a
Right.
business owner, and you're still an employee, dude. So it's going to be even harder for you to switch gears and put on that hat of money made needs to turn into more money. That's it, especially for the first year of your business. If you sell a $3,000 job and the labor on it to pay one guy is maybe 500 or 600 bucks, and the paint is maybe 500 or 600 bucks, you should be very comfortable with putting $1,500 back into marketing.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? That's one job that could
Right.
sustain your business for the whole month. Do you see how that easily can get kind of like a little intimidating when you think, well, my original thought was 500 to 600 based on my employee mentality of how I see money. It's like, wait a minute, if I work the whole week at my current job, I may hit 700, 800. That's a week's worth of my time. So, but when you start a business and you do one job, that's 2 grand, 3 grand. The way that we see money is different. So
Right.
I think the minimum 1,500 and find a way to make it happen. Why? Because you need practice. That's what I care about most. Like, I don't really care about you selling the jobs because you only need one job a week. You need 4 jobs a month to keep one guy busy, right?
Yeah.
Can he paint a house by himself? Is he that good?
Yeah. Yeah. I think he definitely has the capability of doing it
Right.
by himself.
So what you need to do is you need to get practice estimating. You need to understand how to upsell. Why upsell? Because upsell helps your marketing efforts to the point where you don't have to always spend so much because the value of each job is higher, right? Your average job amount. So for example, if you go into a house and I tell you, Tanner, I say, I just want my walls painted. And if you're not seasoned in your sales process to convince me to do my trim, my ceilings, my doors, a 2000 job could have turned to a $5,500 job, but now you need another job to make up for that because you didn't know how to upsell.
Okay.
So that's why I say you need practice, because you want to hear all the questions that get asked. Number one, you want to hear the motivations behind why they want to do it. Would you agree that the motivation to paint the inside of someone's house is different than the motivation to get an epoxy garage floor done?
Yes, absolutely.
Give me an example of a motivation of an epoxy garage floor customer.
um, I think mostly
Nice
people,
car, maybe.
yeah, nice cars. Yep.
Nice cars.
People, guys that spend a lot of time in their garages,
Okay.
guys that do
So
woodworking or things like that.
right. So mechanics, handymen type, like DIY homeowners that, that enjoy the garage, right? So that's a specific type of motivation that you can build off of in your sales process, right? So if I have somebody that has a brand new, let's say a Corvette, right? And he wants to get that epoxy garage floor done. One of my upsells to that gentleman will be, well, listen, one thing that I want to do is make sure that you get nothing but longevity out of this epoxy garage floor. So what we do as a service is we actually provide you with floor mats for your car, as an extra for the service, and we'll order them online. They're just little carpet mats that go under the tires. How does that sound? So it's like you align your value with the motivation. First of all, I know the guy loves his car. I'm going to be a hero here and get him something that he should be getting anyway for a fraction of the cost, and it's going to make me look like the winner here. Now, again, let's flip the script to your new business, interior and exterior painting. Can you give me an example of why someone would want to paint the inside of their house?
I mean, maybe they're planning on putting the house on the
Think if
market.
you, yep, planning. Okay, well, if you were to sell your house right now, I always think it's important for you to be the customer as much as the business owner. Think of it. You have a house right now. If you were to sell the house you're in right now, if you were to sell it, what's most important to you?
The appearance of the house.
No. What's the means to the end? I want you to see this, because if you're selling a house,
Yeah.
you want to make a profit, right?
Well, yeah, the
So
profit.
you care most about getting money back
Yeah.
as much as possible, right?
Yeah. But
Because
that's kind of what I meant with the appearance, like making it look as
sure,
best as possible to get the highest amount for your return.
you would be surprised, because a realtor might come up to them and say, you know what, don't even worry about painting it. The market's so hot right now that your location, you see how it actually isn't, because of how the market determines that. So
Right.
people that are selling their house really aren't our ideal customers.
Okay.
In the same way, real estate investors are not our ideal customers because they're cheap.
Yeah.
Right? They want to flip the house and make a profit. They'll probably go in there and paint it themselves just to get a profit or rent it out.
Yeah.
Not our ideal customers. Doesn't mean we can't sell to them, but we want to spend our time with two types of customers, mostly people that are moving in.
Okay.
Those are the people that want pristine work in their brand new investment, right?
Okay.
Right. So how do we provide value to people that are moving in, and how do we find them? Right. So we have a couple options. You can definitely do mailers to new people that are buying their house. That's an old fashioned way of doing it, but it's still good. You could be on Home Advisor, Angie. That's a good thing. Have a Google listing for people Googling your area. Do you have a Google listing yet?
Yes, I did make a Google listing. And I was also wondering, I have quite a few friends that are realtors. So I was
Sure.
wondering if I could give them like my business cards and things like that, and maybe they could leave them with.
They're horrible.
They're
Realtors
horrible.
are horrible. They're horrible. They
Yeah.
don't want to mess with first of all, They in the shoes of a realtor, they're great in terms of like, hey, I have this network of people. That's good. But in terms of like them advocating, I found that they usually they want to help their customer get the cheapest job for the,
Okay.
and in my personal opinion, some people listen to say might have a great realtor that they refer work to. I've been doing this for 5 years, dude. I've connected with more realtors than I can possibly count. When they know our prices are high, they don't send anyone our way because they don't want to hurt our customers' bottom line. They don't want to have to say, hey, in order to sell this house, you got to do this, 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 and this. They want to get the house on the market so they can make their money
Right.
in most cases. If they got to paint it every realtor will usually say, list the house and then see what happens. And then if it doesn't sell, then we should probably paint it. And in the same way, on the other side, you're right. Realtors would probably be okay. I will say, though, that at that point, some realtors feel as though they have the responsibility. If you don't do a good job, it reflects negatively on them. So they're not as inapt unless you've worked for the realtor to help them out.
Okay.
Right? Because they have personal experience with you. So I found that kind of helps. But in terms of the people that are moving in, you're going to learn this. They care about two major things, obviously quality, but more so efficiency, how soon you can get into the house and do the job. So if you get someone, if I call you and say, hey man, I'm moving in 3 weeks. I haven't closed yet. We're getting ready to close. The worst thing you could possibly do is wait until they close to give them an estimate.
Right.
Because they need to move in. So you need to create an estimating system that allows you to quote jobs without you physically being there.
Okay.
You got to understand cost-based pricing. Do you understand that concept?
I don't believe I'm familiar with that.
Sure. So let me elaborate on it. You have costs as a business owner, labor and materials. Experience is going to help you refine your estimation of those two things based on how long you've worked with the person that you're working with and what you know he's capable of, and how much material each job is going to require. Rough estimate of gallons, rough estimate of sundries, which are the tape, all that stuff. Okay.
Right.
That's through experience. That's why I say in the first year of your business, it's about testing. It's about learning. It's about figuring out how long jobs take, how long it should take one person, how many people I should put on a job. These are things that you need to know. So when you learn how to estimate in the future, you're doing it off the top of your head, knowing that these numbers that you're putting out are going to be accurate. So cost-based pricing is simple. Are you paying the person that works for you hourly or a fixed rate?
Usually an hourly rate.
Usually an hourly rate. Let's
Yeah.
say it's $20 an hour. Okay. Let's say it's 40 hours a week for a 5-day job. Okay. So he's going to work for a whole week and he's going to make $800. So if I came to you and said, hey, Tanner, I'm getting ready to buy a house, and you look up the house online, maybe you send it to the guy who works for you and say, hey, how long will it take you to do this house? 5 days. Perfect. So you know that based on that, it's going to cost you as the business owner at most $1,000 with taxes and insurance to pay him. So now you know what your labor cost is. Then you say, well, how much paint do you think we're going to need? He'll say probably 10 gallons for the walls, 5 gallons for the ceiling, 2 gallons for the trim. So that's 17 gallons of paint, roughly, rough estimate here, 10 gallons, 17. So 10's 30, 300, 450, maybe $500. So you know, based off of those two metrics there, that all in, it's going to cost you $1,500.
Okay.
So you go back to the customer and say, hey, listen, this is what I'm thinking. I'm going to send you a quote. And I always do this for people that are moving in that can't get into their house yet. I say, you give me a deposit and I will allow you to take that deposit back if the deal falls through. So now there's no barriers for this customer, because a lot of customers fear if the deal doesn't go through that they lose their deposit. So you know, as the business owner, it's $1,500 to do the job. Then you decide how much money you as the business owner want to make. So do you understand profit margin to the sense that if you double that, it's $3,000, you make a 50% profit. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Good. So then that's what you should focus on, is hitting that number. You would quote that job at $3,000 without even seeing it, based on those two metrics, right? So now you don't even have to go there. So that's one way. The second type of people are the most common homeowners you will deal with. Those are the people that are living in their home that want to upgrade or upkeep their home. Okay. They care about quality. They care about your story. They care about the experience. They care about efficiency. These are the people that you want to master how to sell to, because they're going to be the majority of the customers that you work for. Their needs are quality. They want really good product. Longevity. They want to make sure that whatever they do, they don't have to do it again. Warranty. They care about this stuff. Fixing things, rotting boards, cracks, so on and so forth. So you're going to have to learn how to build value around all these areas. Again, going back to marketing, figuring out how much do I need to spend on marketing to get in front of as many people as possible.
Okay. Now I know your business has grown way larger. So I was wondering, in the beginning, obviously it's very important to do estimates in person, but as you go along, like you said, you can kind of estimate online just by seeing the house.
It's building trust, right? Like for example, like how much trust does your brand build? My wife and I are looking to build a house. What are we doing right now? Going on Facebook, going on Instagram, going on Google. You know what I'm looking for? I'm looking for the companies that respond to the reviews they get subconsciously. Even though I do that in my business, that's something that I'm looking at and saying, well, no one of these other builders are responding to their customers. How does that make me feel? Makes me feel that if I needed something from this builder, they're not socially inapt in terms of the way technology works, that they can't respond to me. My wife is messaging them right now, going through their Facebook messaging. How long did it take them to message you back? They haven't even messaged me back. Great. They're out. Okay.
Yeah.
So these are things that buyers care about from a distance that will still build trust to the point where you don't have to go. If you sound confident enough on the phone about the fact that you can price it without seeing it, the customer will convey that confidence back to you that they're okay with it. Right. So
Okay.
I'd say, well, first of all, because you're buying a house, chances are there's 40 plus photos online. So instead of us having to meet the realtor and prolong your closing, how about I just, look this up here and I can give you an accurate quote now. And based on these photos, I can price it out for you. Just tell me, do you want the ceiling, walls, trim, doors done? Oh, I just like the walls done. Are you sure? Have you seen the trim? Chances are it could use a freshening up. Would you like me to price that for you? Actually, yeah, I can give you a line item for that. So it's like, you can do that for sure. And it would be beneficial for you, seeing as though that you can't always hit every estimate, but you can do it from afar, I assume, correct?
Yes.
In the beginning, yes, though. Try to get there after work. Try to get
Okay.
there, I would say, get this system down for 4 to 5 months before you start really trying to be absent in that regard. But I do
Okay.
think you should also think about hiring somebody to work alongside your buddy. Even just a helper, even somebody that's never even painted before, just to have someone working alongside of them, man.
Yeah.
I think that would be huge.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds good.
Let me ask you another question. In terms of the marketing aspect of things, when it comes to marketing, right? You have a few different channels. You have Facebook, Google, Home Advisor. It's all about being present, man. It's all about people being able to find you when they need you. So
Okay.
I think like the big thing for you would be Google painters in your area, right? I mean, that's what people probably do.
Yeah.
See what comes up. Have you done that?
Yes. Yeah, I've kind
Okay.
of
How's
Googled
the
around and
competition looking around there?
uh it's pretty fierce. The
Okay.
county that I live in and the county I came from, there's quite a few people that live there.
Okay.
And there's a few painting companies, but I think I can kind of carve my own niche and do quality work. And as long as I keep that up, I feel like I can build a pretty good business.
I
So
think so too. I think so too. It's just a matter of, in the beginning, like if you want to speed up the game, it's pay to play.
yeah,
Like that's the entry fee. It's pay to play. You can rank at the top of Google if you pay them. You
right.
can rank at the top of Facebook and get in front of people if you pay them.
Well, I've kind of reduced my bills and my spending to where I can take the profit from my painting jobs and put a lot back into the marketing. So
Good.
I do have that benefit going for me where I don't need to
Good.
take a large chunk of the money that I make and set it aside.
Perfect. And that's important. Do you have jobs going on right now for this guy? I mean, how are you guys in it now? Are you taking a pause? Like, what does that look like?
I've taken a pause because I just recently moved and I rented out the house that I was living in. So I'm in the process, like I said, of transferring my painting license basically down to the county that I moved to.
Good. Okay.
So I'm taking just
What's
a
the
little
other
pause.
guy doing right now? Is he like going to be able to still work for you, or is he kind of just doing his own thing?
Yeah, no, he'll still be able to work for me.
Okay.
Right now he's not working, but he's kind of in a position where he doesn't have to work.
Okay.
So,
Oh, that's a
um,
nice position to be in. I'd like to figure out how to do that.
yeah, it's pretty nice. But no, he's a good friend, and whenever I need painting jobs done, he's definitely always there to help out.
I mean, you have a
So,
golden star there, and I think that it's really important for you to just, I mean, just keep doing what you're doing, man. I mean, keep prodding, keep looking, keep searching. In the meantime, you can still build up your marketing, your branding. Get that Facebook page going, Instagram going. Start looking up hashtags. You can look up hashtags for realtors in your area. They tend to share a ton of different things. That's a great way to connect with realtors if that's something that you want to do.
okay,
Look up the local hashtags. You can look at, for you, like let's say it's like Tampa Realtor. Look up Tampa Realtor hashtag on Instagram, like a couple pictures, message them, introduce yourself. Like easiest way to connect with realtors through there. In terms of the foundation, have you set up a payroll system yet for getting that prepared?
no, and I was actually going to ask you about that. What's a good payroll system to put into the
So
business?
when I first started, I used a program called Paychecks, and
Okay,
they're similar to ADP. And I didn't really know much about it. And what they did was essentially they assigned me a representative, and each week I had to email the representative the amount of hours my guys worked. So if it was like Joe, Bob, and Steve, I'd say Joe 40, Steve 38, Mike or Steve, whatever name I get, 36. And then what they would do is they would process it in their system, and then they would cut a check to them out of my bank account. And if I made a mistake, I had to email the guy back, and then like he'd be out of the office, and like I was like, this isn't efficient. And I was paying 400 some dollars a month for this service.
oh wow,
And then I found the program called Gusto, and Gusto is yet to sponsor me, and that's okay. I love them so much. They're such a great program because it puts it in my hands to where I go in, I have a back end software, I just punch in the hours, and I can do it. I can edit it, I can make changes. And what I love is that I can onboard employees. So if you sat down to work for me, I'd say, all right, cool. So you're going to get an email from Gusto. And what Gusto is going to do is send you this awesome, like, welcome package, like, welcome to the premium painting team, and it has you put in your bank account information so you can get direct deposit. It gives you a portal to see all your pay stubs. It allows you to request time off through there. And it's like, dude, it's like $35 a month, and it's
wow,
$6 per employee.
okay,
So, and you can run as many payrolls as you want. Paychecks used to charge me per payroll. I can do 10 payrolls through Gusto. They won't charge me. They just charge me a flat monthly fee. So there's a link to that in the bio of the podcast. So you could
okay,
get $100 gift card if you sign up through my link,
cool. Yeah, I'll
an
definitely.
affiliate. So, but yeah, that would be ideal. And I would get that in place now.
Okay,
I would get these things ready to go. So when your friend comes aboard, would you just kind of like write the check or 1099 them sort of
yeah,
deal?
yeah,
You can still do that and just make him a contractor through there. So it's not just for employees. What it's going to do though is at the end of the year, it's going to give him that 1099 for you. So it'll legitimately set it all up and make it to where he is a contractor and he will get appropriately taxed or whatever.
okay. Yeah, that's great advice. I'll definitely look into that.
Yeah.
Because I was looking for it's it's hard to do all the accounting and stuff by yourself. So it's definitely a lot of help to have like an outside company that manages all that for you.
There's two areas that I suggest you just don't try to do yourself: payroll and accounting.
Okay.
Find an accountant. I pay $350 a month. They do bookkeeping and accounting for me. For
Okay.
me, like, again, investment in me focusing on my business. Like, the worst thing that can happen in your business is that you don't get the numbers right and you're paying more tax than you should have because you don't know tax code law changes, deductions, loopholes that only accountants know. They do this for a living. So the amount that I spend over the course of a year is actually like an entry fee to make more money because they've figured out how to lower my tax liability through their knowledge. You see,
Okay.
it's kind of
Yeah.
interesting how that works. Kind of like if you buy a course from somebody for $1,000, the goal is for you to make more. And it's like, well, why is that person doing that? Well, that's how they make income. And, but you get it. So I would
Yeah.
highly suggest finding someone that does both accounting and bookkeeping.
Okay.
Highly
Awesome.
suggest that. So any other outstanding questions, man?
I'm just looking right now. I think you've touched on a lot of things that I had questions about.
Yeah.
Um,
How hard's the licensing process where you're at?
man.
Hard?
To get the original license, yeah, it was pretty difficult. I had to take two separate tests. One was strictly on painting. The second part was basically on uh, kind of like business aspects and tax codes and things like that. It was a really tough read, studying for those. But but yeah, I was able to pass both of them. And the good thing about that is if there is another company that needs a painting license, I can just apply for reciprocity. So like I said, that's what I'm doing to the county that I moved into.
So
Um,
they can work for you for essentially, is that how that works?
what's that?
What do you mean apply for reciprocity? How does that work?
So it just means that basically you have a contractor's license in a different county, and to do work in a neighboring county, you have to get reciprocity, which just means
Uh,
that basically they recognize your license is all that is. So basically, you can have a larger area to do work in, as long as you're certified in those counties. Because the county I'm in, they're pretty strict on contractors. The unlicensed contractor thing.
do they do stings?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, I actually work for an agency that does those.
Oh,
So
you
I
know
see.
that.
Yeah.
So you weren't even playing. Yeah, you
Yeah.
worked for the. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. So I just wanted to make sure I do everything legit, and do everything right as far as the business process goes.
No,
So
I
I
love that. I'm a huge fan of that. And I think that you need to piggyback that mentality with taking payroll seriously, getting that set up today.
right.
Don't wait. Get that ready to go. You don't really even have to pay for it if you're not running payroll. So, like, you're going to have to go through this process of inputting your company information, your EIN. Like, the setup process is the hardest part of Gusto. But once that's out of the way, then it's just like, boom, plug it in and go. Like that. And then the accounting and tax side in the same breath, like again, like I don't know if you went to accounting school or know the change. I mean, there was a major change that happened a couple years ago that changes the way meals can be deducted and like all these things, man. It's like get that foundation set
Okay.
so you're prepared for the growth, Again, and I'm gonna obviously advocate a software for you. You need software in your business,
Yeah.
in terms of like what our software does, Dripjobs, like think about this for a second. You're spending money on marketing. The marketing's job is to provide you with leads. If you're at work all day and you get a lead and maybe you can't pick up the phone and call, that lead is not being taken care of. The service that you're selling is an emotional sell, right? It's emotional. Most people, when they see an advertisement for a painting company, what they're thinking is how great their house is going to look and how they're going to feel when the house looks that great. Maybe they look at their walls and it's just dirty or it's just worn down from the kids and they see this ad that comes up and it's your beautiful ad of freshly painted walls and they submit their information. They want to speak with you. You paid for them to press that button. You're at work. That's it. I mean, they
Right.
can't hear from you until you respond. And by that time, the emotional intensity of that initial reaction is gone.
Right.
It's not gone, it's diminished. So then what happens is that maybe in that moment they were really excited, like, whatever, let's get this done. You took 5 or 6 hours to get back to them.
Yeah. It's
From
too
that
long.
point on, they talk to their husband or the husband talks to the wife and they're like, you know what? On second thought, we'll just keep, postpone that. And what Drip Jobs does is the second that lead comes in, within seconds, a text message and an email sent to them for them to actually book an appointment.
Okay.
That's a commitment, right? Now they booked the appointment. They gave you their address. They gave you the time they want you to come. They gave you the date. So then at that point, it's locked in. Now you have an opportunity to sell. But what I've seen is that people will sign up for Home Advisor and not have anything following up with their customers for them. And if they're painting or they're working or they're busy, they don't get a chance to do it. So I highly suggest if you're going to invest in marketing, you need a software like Dripjobs, being honest,
Okay.
to help nurture that, especially in your case with you not even being available during Monday through Thursday
Right.
as much as you want to be. I'm sure there's some flexibility, but not to the point where you could probably pick up the phone at work and just start hammering out your leads. I
Yeah.
don't know
Yeah.
where you work, but I don't think they'll be happy with that. So, that's something to think about as well. It's kind of like insurance for your leads. It does much
Yeah.
more, but most importantly, if you're going to take this route of leads, you want to do that. But
Okay.
I think like don't be scared to get too many leads. Is that something that you're apprehensive about? I know, and again, I know you're waiting for the licensing, but when
Yeah.
you do get leads, like you only have one guy to do the work, right? So one thing that I like to teach is that like you need to do them both at the same time. In other words, like you need to, when you market, you should be hiring at the same time. You're
Okay.
not going to hire if you don't have leads, right? Like if you know that the phone isn't going to ring, why would you hire somebody else? You're like, there's no way I would even be able to have work for that guy. In
Right.
the same breath, if there's apprehension about spending money on marketing, why would you hire? Right? Because in other words, you don't have work for that person, so you're not going to hire. And the same, let me flip it. If you have apprehension about hiring the leads, you get it. I'm not going to go any further because I'm
Yeah.
losing my train of thought. But you understand that both of them have to go at the same time in order for this thing to work. And then you get a flow. You realize leads come in. I sold the job. Move forward. Boom. Now it keeps going. Let's get another guy in there. And there's this cycle that occurs to where you don't even have to touch a paintbrush.
Yeah.
And I think that, to be honest, like based on your business acumen and what I think you're going to do, you like the sales role better. You like the business ownership role better. Would you agree?
Definitely. Yeah, absolutely. I would much rather be interacting with customers, doing sales and estimates and that sort of thing. And I have checked out your app and it does look very solid. So I definitely would like to integrate that into my business.
Yeah. I mean, it's just one of those things. It's almost a necessity unless you plan to sit by the phone and wait for a lead to come in and call them within seconds every time. I mean,
Yeah.
and you got to understand that again, like people don't always just book right away. That's why it drips it out, because it's like over the course of 30 days, we're going to send you 10 emails with links in there for you to book until
Yeah.
you get tired of us, right? You put in your information. I paid for your information. So I have every right to contact you and ask you to book. So these are things that I've learned in my business. I wasted a lot of money on leads that I never followed up with. They never answered. I forgot to follow up with them again. And these are $100 leads,
I think that's good though, because most people, they want their house painted, but they might put it on a back burner or something like that. So if they get a consistent email from it, it's like, oh, I got a reminder, like, hey, I should contact them to get the job done and things like that.
We talked about trust, right? So you go to Angie, you put in your information. It's your first time doing it. I don't know if have you ever done the flow of what a customer goes through on that?
No.
Do it. Don't submit it though, because some random guy is going to get your lead and it's not going to be happy. But just go all the way to the end. You
Okay.
got to understand the concept. If you're going to do any form of marketing and receive the lead, my suggestion is to actually be the customer and see what they experience. And it's like, go through that process and realize that, like, okay, this is kind of easy, right? Hey, first name, next page, last name. And they psychologically do this to the point where it doesn't overwhelm the customer. Most people don't really know what's going to happen when they hit that submit button. Angie or Home Advisor, God, I hate their name change. They're horrible, man, doing this. But anyway,
Yeah.
because they have Angie Leads, Angie Ads, and Angie's List. Freaking idiots, man. Anyway, they do this to the point where the customer doesn't realize what's going to happen. So the way that they advertise is like, hey, here, get a quote for how much it would cost to paint your home. So they think that once they're done the freaking form, it's going to pop out a number and say, oh, this will be $3,000,
Yeah.
But no, it says, we've just sent your information to 5 contractors. Good luck, And at that point, they're probably like, oh no, scared, right?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
know this because, dude, I've spent over 90 grand on Home Advisor in the course of my time, right? I know what the initial reactions are, and I started to advocate in a sense of like, hey, I'm a part of this process. The next step is this, instead of being like, hey, Joanne, did you put in a request to get a quote? And they'll be like, no, and hang up, right? And I'd be like, okay, great. I saw that you put in the request on Angie. I'm available tomorrow at 2:00. I'll be in your area. How does that sound? Way different, right? Because I know what the process for them to get to that point is. So then I just added my little spiel to get in front of them. And I was receptive, but I was telling you about trust. When they're getting those emails, your logo's at the top, right? From Dripjobs, like your logo's there. Your name's there. It's an exciting email. It says, hey, we got your request. Hey, just click here, choose the time. We'll be there, right? So for somebody that goes to Angie and doesn't know any of these companies, just sees 5 random company names that they were assigned to, they don't know anything about these guys. But anyone that's using Dripjobs, text message with your name, email with your logo, building value. Some people put a link to their Facebook in these follow-ups. Some people put a link to their Instagram, maybe a video to explain, to build trust. Like that's how you nurture and convert leads. You have to do it in this digital age.
Right.
And again, it's about trust. Like, again, if you were to do this for your house and you got 5 random company names, contractors already have a bad rap. So it's like off the bat, you're just like apprehensive,
Yeah, definitely.
So that's how the system works, man. It's again, if you're going to do this, spending the money. Now, in terms of hiring, I mean, have you thought about what that process looks like for you? I mean, do you have any idea?
Not really, because like you said, if you don't have any current leads, you're not really thinking about hiring.
Right.
I
Do
know.
you see why I say you have to do them both at the same time?
Right. Yeah.
You have to. You've got to get enough leads to force you to do what you need to do to hire and be
Yep.
like, or I'm not going to be able to sell jobs to these people. Like it's the same thing and it never stops. You always got to keep them both going at the same time. That's how you grow your business. But continue in terms
Okay.
of your hiring experience.
Um, like I said, as far as hiring, it's kind of been like just, a friend basis. Like when I needed help out with my business, just if they were available, they helped me out and I would pay them like 1099. But I do want to get a process down where I do hire employees.
Okay.
And like you said, trying to have that consistent flow of interviewing and basically weeding out people and making sure that I get the best employees
Law
available.
of averages, right? So for
Yeah.
my it's funny for Dripjobs, I have to use the same principles I teach and that I use in my painting business to find help for Dripjobs. I had 150 applications for customer success. Okay. What did I do? I tell everybody, send them to a Google form that has specific questions that you want them to answer. But really, the key is when you put that ad out to see out of the 150, how many filled out the Google form? Because it
Right.
says clearly in the description, you will not be considered for this position unless you copy and paste this into your browser and fill out the form. How many do you think out of the 150 actually filled out my form?
Man, I'm sure it's a low amount, probably like 20,
10,
10.
10,
I was going to say at least 20.
10. So thankfully, I had that form. I was able to wipe out 140 applicants that would never work for me because they didn't follow instructions.
Right. Yeah, no, that's a good process.
You see what I'm saying? And it's even more crucial in our space because of what we're looking for is trust. Forget performance.
Right.
Forget it.
Yeah.
Don't even care about performance. You want people you can trust. One aspect of trust is people doing what they're told when they say they're going to do it, right? Would you say that if you ask someone to do something, a favor for you, and they get it done at the time of which they said they were going to do it, would you consider that person trustworthy?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what we're doing in our hiring process is using that strategy to identify who we can trust to show up on time, who we can trust to do well for our customers, who we can trust to communicate effectively. That's it, right? Forget
Okay.
performance. Performance, you already have a performer. You
Yeah.
need trustworthy people to be trustworthy enough to learn how to do their job to the standard of which you want it done. Then it becomes your job to train them or give them milestones to achieve to get there. But what I'm saying is that that form is a filtering out process, right? That form then turns into a phone interview, right? So that's how I identify what, who they are, right? So 10 people come through, I read those answers. Only 3 of them made it to what I would consider a next step phone interview. From there, only one person got an in-person interview, which was a face-to-face Zoom, right? And then I hired that person, and right now, rock star.
Yeah. That's
Filter them out.
yeah.
But if you don't have that process in place, it's really hard to identify trustworthiness because everyone's going to give you their best off the bat because they want the job.
Yeah.
And then usually it's 3 to 4 weeks that go by where their habits kick in and their character starts showing. And then it's frustrating. Then usually what happens is they quit or they don't show up and you're wondering what's going on. And it's your fault, not you, but the person who's in this position is their fault because they didn't filter them out to the point. And then what happens is you get so sick of that and you don't have the energy to hire again. So you just keep the system the same and you never grow,
Yeah.
so again, do you have my hiring course?
I don't think I have it.
Okay, I'll give it to you. I'll send you a link to it. It's for free.
Okay.
It's a 4-lesson course, and it explains everything that I just went over in much more detail. It'll show you how to make the ad. It'll show you how to make the form. It'll show you everything that you need to do. But you need marketing and hiring at the same time now.
Definitely.
How long is it going to take you to get the license?
Depends on really depends on the county. But I'd say probably a few weeks.
I mean, you can get started hiring now. I
Okay.
mean, at least practice hiring, right?
Yeah.
Practice getting this stuff out. It's just practice and repetition. Bro, every time I fire someone, I learn from that fire as to what I missed during the hiring. And it makes me better each time, dude.
Yeah.
It's experience. Like I can't teach you experience. You just got to be willing to experience it. So that's why I'm saying, like, don't let this license thing stop you from setting up a marketing campaign,
Okay.
working with someone that knows what they're doing to do that for you, figuring out hiring. So when that time comes, you're already in motion. I think the worst thing you can do is wait till you get your license to start setting up a accountant, start setting up a payroll system, start
Right.
setting up a hiring process, start setting up a marketing process. Dude, you might as well forget it. I mean,
Yeah.
there's too much to do up into that time. So I think it's a blessing you have to wait a few weeks to give you some time to focus.
Okay. Yeah. No, like
So,
I said, I definitely really appreciate your advice because
no problem.
you're in the same business and you've gone through the process. So
Yeah,
um, I definitely love the systems that you've put in place. And I feel like, because I love technology, so I feel like Drip Jobs is like, it's all about optimizing a contractor's business. And I feel like I said, it could really, really help me grow in the painting space.
absolutely, man. It's my pleasure, and happy to do this again once you hit another level. Was this helpful today?
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. Like I
Cool.
said, thank you. And I
Of
appreciate all your
course.
help.
Yeah, I'll send you two links in a text. One for Gusto and one for the hiring course.
Okay.
All right,
Awesome, man.
man. Take care.
Thank
Good
you.
luck.
All right.
Hey, wait, real quick. The
Yeah.
uh the PCA Expo, it's in Orlando this year.
Okay.
I highly suggest you invest in going.
Okay.
It's a expo for all painting business owners. We're gonna have a booth there, Drip Jobs. So I'll be there. I'll get to meet you, but it'd be
Awesome.
really cool. I mean, for you, especially if you're really trying to tap this in, it's only an hour away from you, bro.
Yeah.
So it'd be
No, I'll
wise for
definitely.
you to come by.
Yeah, I'll be there. I will be
Yeah,
there.
good to know. All right, my friend. I'll send you a link for that too.
All right. Take
All right,
take
see
care,
you,
man.
man.
Thanks.
Yep.
Dripjobs CRM is finally here. That's right. So, Dripjobs is an automation platform for contractors, home service professionals that's going to automatically follow up with your customers. It's going to allow you to send invoices, estimates. It's going to allow you to send out blast marketing emails to individuals based on where they are in the buying process. This software is next level. And I'm reaching out to you. You're a listener of this podcast, and I want you to be one of the first ones to give it a shot. So if you want to see what Drip Jobs can do for your business, I'd love for you to head over to dripjobs.com, sign up for a free demo, and get your team involved, and let us sit with you and show you how powerful this software is. It's going to save you time, it's going to make you money, and you're going to love the features that are built into Drip Jobs. So if you want to check it out, head over to dripjobs.com. And we will give you first priority being a podcast listener to be one of the very first to try out Drip Jobs in your home service business. I'm super excited to share that with you, and I'll catch you on the next episode.